Children in orphanages were always available to be used as subjects for all kinds of research. They were easily obtained. Researchers didn't need parental permission to use them, and a tremendous number of kinds of research, both innocuous and I would say harmful to children. All of these were carried out with children in orphanages because they were there, they were available, they were spare children. This was standard institutional operating procedure in the 1930s to 1950s.
I used to refer to myself as a guinea pig baby. When they explained to me what the practice house concept was, it sounded more to me like animals in a science lab.
We have a lot of visitors during Alumni Weekend and people that just want to walk through because they have been in the space before. And it's usually informal, but I remember one woman in particular, and I don't remember her name. She just took my arm and said, "Oh, you can't believe what it's like for me to be back here." And I said, "Oh, I know, a lot of alum, remember this as being one of the most positive times they spent at Cornell." And she said, "Oh, no, do you know that I lived here and we had a baby?" And again, I remember looking at her thinking, "Oh, a lot of people probably had babies while they were here." And she goes, No, I was part of the group that when we were here, we lived in family units upstairs in apartments, and we were given an orphan baby.
Well, I was in the practice apartments when Pearl Harbor occurred. It was kind of a barbaric thing to do to a baby. I often wondered how the baby grew up and adjusted everything, but that's something I never knew.
It's only in hindsight that you think, oh my God, this poor child went through 21 authorities at least, minimum. You wonder how that child turned out.
In the early 20th century, universities around the country began to develop home management houses for home economics majors. Spare children were borrowed and brought to the home management house and lived there for a certain number of months until they were deemed too old and then were returned to orphanages.
Well, it's kind of interesting to talk about the so-called Domicom babies. The students in those days were expected to learn how to actually run a household.
It was based on science. You got a Bachelor of Science degree when you graduate from home ec.
I can't imagine what it must have been like for that baby to have loving adults care for him and have him live with them and then go back to an orphanage.
Was it a worthwhile thing to do? You can go ask your mother if you have a question about what you did when you were 6 months old, and when you said your first word and that sort of thing. All of that, most of that is missing for me. So that's why this is a really good experience to come back here, because I'm getting more pieces of the puzzle.
Hello, I'm Sheila Hart. I'm here to see some of my history.
All right, let's go. There were separate collections in different parts of Olin Library, and I'll be showing you a lot of the primary original material. Just to meet you is so exciting, is we really don't have any, there was no follow-up done that we know of. We have no records on any of these.
Where the babies went.
No, none of that, and I think that was done on purpose.
Oh yes, the secrecy thing.
Right.
I'm sure none of this would pass boards today. If the means to the end are not humane, then the Human Subjects Committees will not permit such work to be done.
Researchers at all universities and colleges and all medical schools have to have their research protocols approved by a human subjects committee before you can actually test real human beings, or in our case, real children. There are labs around the country that have literally grinded to a halt because their IRBs no longer permit this kind of research to be done, especially with vulnerable populations, young kids, the elderly, mentally retarded, emotionally disturbed. You can't do it.
To protect vulnerable populations from harm, that is the most important mission there. But, if you really care about these populations, you want this work to be done.
Today I'm going to the school to try to get them on board to let us do the study in their school. I'll be describing the experiment to her, and I'll try to be selling it to her in a way that makes her comfortable with it, so I won't be saying things like child sexual abuse or false memories or anything like that, even though that's really what we're looking at in the study. We're sort of interested in how kids can keep track of where they get information from, and that's probably something that you've encountered. If a child said something strange to you, you want to be able to tell, did they get that from watching TV or playing a video game, or is there something strange going on in their home? I'm interested in understanding why some kids are more susceptible to suggestive influences than other kids are. One of the reasons that this research is really important is because it can help us develop techniques to properly interview children and find out what actually did happen and didn't happen when the child is a witness to a criminal act. The basic idea is that children are going to have a visit in their classroom from Miss Baker, and Miss Baker is going to teach them about how to bake cookies. There's also a little mishap at the end where Miss Baker ruins the cookie dough, and we did that because we wanted it to be a slightly negative event.
Do you know who's here today?
Miss Baker.
Miss Baker.
I like to bake cookies. I love baking cookies.
I help my mom.
You help your mom?
Chocolate cookies.
I bet you a lot of you help your moms. Well, if you've made cookies before, you know that you need to put butter in. And butter helps make the cookies soft. And the next thing that I'm going to add is sugar. You're very right.
Do you know what? There's one more ingredient to put in. Do you know what that ingredient is? It is salt. So I'm just going to add a tiny. Oh no! I just added way too much salt to my cookie dough. You know what? You all did a really good job helping me, even though I was so silly. So I have some stickers here. Would you all like a sticker? Yeah. Okay, so everybody can just stay in your seats, and I'll bring you a sticker. And purple for you.
Mommy, I want red.
You want red? All right, can you get it? Want some help there? So Miss Baker is going to come in and do her little game with the kids, and then afterwards they're going to be interviewed 4 consecutive weeks in a row, suggestively.
I heard that Miss Baker came to your classroom a while ago. Is that true? Miss Baker come to see you?
Yeah.
Yeah? Well, I couldn't be here that day, but I want to hear all about what happened when she came.
I don't know.
You don't know?
Yeah.
That's okay. How about I ask you some questions?
Okay.
Did she put a sticker on your knee, Minson? No, on your forehead?
Yeah, we put it there.
Are you sure? Because I heard that she put it on your knee.
No, we didn't. We could put it wherever we wanted. He just gave it to us.
Oh, but the other kids told me that she put it on your knee.
No. I got a sticker and I put it on my forehead.
Oh.
Veda put it on her nose.
Oh, yeah? Well, think real hard, Thaddeus. Are you sure she didn't put it on your knee?
No.
Did Miss Baker put a sticker on your knee? On your forehead? Are you sure, Minson? Because the other kids told me that she put a sticker on your knee.
Some kids did.
Oh. Well, I want you to think really hard. It's really important to know what happened. Did she put a sticker on your knee?
She put a sticker on one kid's knee.
Oh.